Roll Tide, everybody. Roll Tide. Welcome to Elephant in the Room. That's Jay Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to see you guys here on Cover Crimson. We're brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And we appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us like you do on a daily basis. So, well, maybe I say daily, but yeah, twice a week basis. And then the number one pregame show in Alabama, the Tailgate Show. You know us. Let's get this thing going. All right, there he is, Jay Coker, won the 2015 national championship. Can you sit? Has it sunk in yet after all these years?
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. I can tell you that. I mean, I did watch there's a highlight that popped up, or Cruz, our boy Crux. He tagged me in he tagged me in a Twitter post, and it was a touchdown pass I threw to Calvin Ridley, and I didn't do anything spectacular. I hit Calvin on what should have been an out route, and he settled it down, caught it, runs down the field, and Kenyon Drake and Ardarius Stewart make these two great downfield blocks, and he scores, 60-yard, basically a run. But I was watching that tape, and I always remember that play because, and again, it's nothing like, I don't look back at that play and be like, man, that was a great throw. Mm-hmm. I look back on it, and you watch Kenyon Drake and Ardarius Stewart comes from across the field to lead block, for a 60-yard touchdown run after the catch. And I was just sitting there thinking about how much fun it was to play on that team when you got skilled guys, just giving it everything they got without the ball, making plays down the field, blocking. And that play, even though, like I said, nothing spectacular, that play always comes to mind when I think about how unselfish that team was, and that culture of, that's what made that team so good, and really what won us a national championship was just, man, selflessness all over the field. And that's the kind of football. If I see Alabama lose, I can deal with it with that kind of effort and that kind of unselfishness.
Yeah.
That's watching that play. I was like, man, I want to see that back on the field. Mm-hmm. Which you saw glimpses of it. Didn't see it against Oklahoma or Vandy, but I just love that kind of effort, especially in an Alabama uniform.
You got there, and the culture was established that way, right? Like, it didn't matter 5 stars, 4 stars, star player, walk on. You guys all kind of pulled in the same direction. It didn't feel like that last year totally, but everyone that you hear talk keeps kind of say, hey, we care about that stuff. We want to live up to the Bama standard, right?
Yeah.
Last year, honestly, wasn't. It's a different world now, but at the same time, when you do all the little things right, it leads you to wins, right? Yeah. It's stuff like you said, like, it's just a routine play, but because everything else was executed, your throw was on target, right? It was on time, right? He caught the ball. He did what he was supposed to do. The other guys came across, they blocked, they did what they were supposed to do. And when everyone's doing their job, it makes it look like a play like that turns into a touchdown.
Yeah, and we were all on the same page, too. I remember walking out there, and I see that corner, it was a cloud corner in the flat. And I remember looking at Calvin, and I was like, I pointed at that corner like, hey, need to settle this down. And I still remember thinking, well, we never really practiced that, throwing an out route to a flat corner. That's usually you set them up for a headshot there. But I remember walking out there and making eye contact with Calvin and just being like, hey, you see that? And gives me a little nod, and I get the ball and I throw it hoping that he's settling it down, and man, he's settled it down perfect. And just kind of, I mean, we had the play call, but kind of drawing it up in the sand, out there, just adjusting and being on the same page with your teammates. And at that point in time in the year, we had gotten that comfort level to where we could talk to each other like that. And you run the same. I mean, you're running what Lane calls, but there's a few things that happen on the field where, whether it's a hand gesture, eye contact, you get to that level of comfort with a guy where you're both on the same page and you understand exactly what I'm talking about when I point at somebody and make eye contact with you. Okay, I know what to do, and because like I said, that throwing that ball to Calvin with that play call is an absolute no-no. But when you settle it down before you get to the corner, it makes sense, and you put it on his back shoulder to where he can turn and make a play. It obviously turns into a 60-yard touchdown. You find a way to get it into the hands of your playmakers, and then let them. I mean, at Alabama, that's the name of the game. You want it pass plays. You want them to be 5, 10, 20-yard handoffs, and let them make plays after they catch the ball. And when you got guys like Kenyon Drake, Ardarius Stewart, just selfless teammates blocking downfield, just going the extra mile, man. It just makes a complete, and it turns a game that could be a 1-2 possession game into a blowout.
Yeah, right. Well, those dagger plays. I mean, it's like you on defense, you're like, how did we just let this happen, right? I mean, you want to force a team to have to work down the field to score. When they score on routine plays like that, you're just like, it's a killer.
Well, and when when you're the opposing team and you've got to play, you got to play Alabama that year, and you look at across the board how much talent we had, and then you flip on the film and you watch guys block downfield like that are that good that, if you got that much talent, sometimes you may take a play off and you may have a bad attitude. You're not catching the ball. No, we're blocking downfield and we're doing that. An opposing coach is like, oh shit. I mean, not only do we have to figure out how to stop these guys, but they're going to make plays without the ball in their hand as well, and they're physical, and they just want to dominate you every aspect of the game. That's not a good feeling. Especially you're coaching a team that's not as talented, and the more talented team is going to find a way to beat you without the ball in their hand. That's a tough matchup. That's going to be a tough day.
Yeah. Well, that's what they hope to get back to.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you have more talent, the reason you get beat is a lack of effort, and a lack of execution, and not getting that one thing done that's not really a part of I guess your duties on the field, but you just go make it happen because you want to. That's what makes you, that's what separates you from the average teams.
Bama recruiting's picked up, and it's starting to turn into pretty impressive group for Kalen DeBoer. I don't think this is going to be a top 3 class when it's all said and done, but it's going to be pretty close. It feels like it's a lot of 5 stars, and I think they're going to add more before signing day. And then a lot of these developmental 3 stars where you're going, okay, this guy has a ton of potential. The Brian Williams Jr. is a guy who is kind of a late arriver, right? And you know about this, like he's all of a sudden he's getting offers from everybody, and
he missed his sophomore year in high school, from what I understand.
Right? Yeah, like he's just started. They compare him to kind of like Julio Jones, which to me is crazy, but
well, so I had a video pop up yesterday. I watched some of Brian Williams this morning right before we started, and there's not a whole lot out there. I feel like there's just not a whole lot to look at in terms of content on the internet. And I looked for 30 minutes or less, but really all I could find was him lining up, just blowing the doors off people and just running under the ball. And making some really good high point catches, but he's 6'4", 200 pounds. I mean, he's one of those guys that once he gets some weight on him, I think he's going to be pretty dang good player, but I again, I haven't seen enough. I watched a video, and I had a video come across my timeline yesterday of Owen Cable. Is that how you
Yeah,
pronounce his last
wide
name?
receiver, like a Lad McConkey type guy out of Nashville. They say he's like a second coach.
He's
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 that
he's
good.
he's bigger though, and I think he's faster. I mean, he's what 6'3", and he ran a 4.4 at the Alabama camp. When when that video popped up on my phone, I thought it was Max Sutter, and I had a lot of good things to say about him last week.
Right.
But I watched a video of a workout of Owen Cable, and I was kind of shocked. I mean, after seeing he was 6'3", that he only had offers from Vanderbilt and Illinois, or at least that was his top two.
And Ohio State, I think, was in there too. Oh no,
Yeah.
you're right. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm thinking of the tight end from Illinois. Yeah, like you didn't. But part of this is like when you see someone that you feel like it can slide in and play, you also have to project what they're going to be like next year and the year after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when I watch Owen Cable and I watch him go through a workout, here's the thing that either you get on the field because you're really, really athletic, or you know exactly where to be and you run routes extremely well. And when I saw him go through that workout, man, he's got great hips. He's very intentional in his angles and his landmarks. I think he's a kid. I mean, he's already 6'3". He already runs a 4.4. I watched him run routes in that workout, and again, I saw like a few plays on the field, and he looked good. But that workout where he was coming out at the right angles, I mean, running really, really crisp routes. I think he's a kid that could get on the field pretty early. Caught the ball really well, real fluid with his hands. I really, really liked what I saw. So I think he's going to be one of those guys potentially that flew under the radar. These scouting services haven't paid too much attention to him because he's got offers from Vanderbilt and Illinois.
There's a little bit of animosity for those stars. They only gave you 3 of them. Shank told me he got 4. He was like, he felt good when he got that 4-star.
Hey, fuck those stars.
It's crazy. Oh man, this is a good time for me to reach into the vault here and remind everybody that we're brought to you by our friends at Residence Inn by Marriott Ocean City. Time for you to plan your vacation. That is a 5-star visit right there. Back to back to back. Coastal style hotel of the year, Ocean City, Maryland, right there by the boardwalk, all the great seafood, Secrets, which is like their version of the Floribama. The Blue Marlin fishing tournament's coming up in August. Check them out. Residence Inn. Our friend Keith is a huge Bama guy. And you're looking for a different vacation, that place is awesome. And the guys from the next round even went. And we want to do the same thing. We want to go up there and visit at some point as well. Ocean City's awesome. And we appreciate them so much. So then you got Sedarian Morgan. I mean, like the 3 wide receivers. You figured that Jamarcus Shepard's doing a great job recruiting. Kalen DeBoer played wide receiver, so you got a head coach that is in tune with what that position means, right? And when he was at Washington and he had all those guys go into the NFL at the wide receiver position, I don't think the wide receiver position was exactly what Alabama hoped it would be last year. I mean, you had 6 guys transfer. Yeah. I'm not saying it's all the receivers' faults. I mean, part of that is Jalen Milroe getting them the ball, but part of it's them getting open. You talk about blocking, doing all the things that it takes just besides just getting the ball to be successful. And it feels like they're adding a lot of playmakers.
Well, to me, last year I felt like Jeremy Bernard was probably the most reliable receiver. I think he ran good routes. He knew where to be. He's athletic. I mean, he's a playmaker. Ryan Williams is the most talented receiver, and he did a great job last year as a true freshman 17-year-old. I mean, you can't ask for more. This year I expect him to really get better, leaps and bounds from just a technical aspect. Last year I think he did far more than what I would have expected. Just coming in as a true freshman at that age when you should be a senior in high school, the plays he made, he's, again, we can't say enough good things about Ryan Williams, but, in terms of a guy that understands hots, getting open, angles, all that, I think Jeremy Bedard was probably the most solid. I didn't feel like we had a ton of those guys that you could. And last year, I didn't feel like we had a ton of guys where when Jalen dropped back, he knew exactly where they were going to be, could throw it and anticipate. And I'm not saying that's on the receivers. I just think that throughout the year, you got to get better. You got to build those relationships and that feel for guys on the field. I didn't quite feel like we ever got there, and it's I'm alluding back to that story with Calvin earlier in the show. Where you walk out, you see something, and you just on the field adjustment, right before play, you just kind of, without even talking about it, you're on the same page. And Calvin was a true freshman then, and early in the year, we didn't have that kind of I guess relationship, on field relationship, and it grows throughout the year. And again, I felt like Jeremy was the only guy that really grew in that way. And Ryan Williams as well. He got a lot better as the year went on, a lot more crisp. But I want to see a bunch of guys that come out there and really understand what the goal is and see what the defense is doing, understand, how things may have to change and adjust when you see certain things. But my understanding is, so did Owen Cable have an offer from Alabama before he before he came to that camp?
I think he won him over at that camp.
Yeah. I saw that workout tape, and I know after I, saw he ran a 4.4, I guarantee you, Kalen DeBoer, when he saw him running routes, he was like, "Holy shit, this guy's only got 2 offers. Are you kidding me?"
Right.
Just like stumbling on a pot of gold. Because again, like when I see that, just the way he runs routes, because you see a lot of guys in high school, some of them, are so physically gifted that they may run a route and really they get to their break and they stand there, you throw them the ball and they're open because they're so athletic, and then they just go score a touchdown after they catch it. And it takes 1 year, 2 years to finally get to that point where they're doing exactly what you want them to do and they understand what the goal is at the end of each play. When you see Owen Cable with those kind of measurables and that kind of route running skill, you've got something that can play early. And I'm not saying a game breaker or anything like that. We'll see. I haven't seen enough, but a guy that's going to be pretty formidable pretty early.
I think it's good.
And I think, seeing that and Matt Sutter, and I'm watching, it's Darian Morgan, everybody wants him. I haven't been able to see enough of Brian Williams, but I got to think when Kalen DeBoer sees a receiver, it's kind of like, some of these really good college quarterback coaches, when they offer a guy, that guy can play and he's going to contribute somehow. Some of these 3 stars that Kalen DeBoer is bringing in at receiver, to me, if they've got 3 stars, it's probably because, they're just kind of flying under the radar. That gives me a lot of trust in what Brian Williams Jr. can do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is this staff, they don't look at Bama Online and what the star ratings are to go out and pick the players they want. And that's no disrespect to, our friends over there, but that shouldn't be what matters to them. What should be is that they go out, they self-scout, they figure out the people that are going to physically be able to play, that have the ability to do that, but also fit their culture, which is something that they've continually talked about, that they want people that show up, these players, to come in and want to be there and want to be a part of what they're doing, not just because, hey, we're giving you some money. And that's hard this day and age. There's a lot of schools that don't care, and they're just going to pay. They're going to pay for talent, and that's fine too. But that's not what Coach DeBoer is trying to establish right now in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see Vandy forking out some money to keep Owen, or try to get Owen Cable. Pay him a lot of money just to be a thorn in Alabama's side. And look, Vandy, you hear Diego Pavia talk about the and I don't know how much he knows really about what Vandy's got in terms of NIL spending, but you would imagine that Vandy would have a pretty decent amount of money to put forth to get guys. It just depends on if they can get people interested enough to put that kind of money forth. But I think Owen Cable's recruitment's really going to pick up, and so that's the one thing that worries me a little bit is, once those big offers start rolling in, and I'm glad he committed, but there's going to be a lot of schools reaching out after seeing that and seeing some of that tape. Like I just saw.
Right. Do you think that how comfortable are you with all these commitments? I mean, how many of them do you think that will get to the finish line for Alabama? And there's a lot of good players that have.
Yeah, I don't know, because I keep hearing, or last year I heard about just from coaches all over the SEC that you can't really rely on commitments as much as you used to. And there's so many moving parts now with guys getting late money pushes, and it's something to think about for these kids. I mean, you get big offers later on down the road. I can see where it makes you waver a little bit in terms of what you've promised these coaches that you've committed to. Mm-hmm. It's not like the old days where you just take visits and pick the school that you want to go to the most. I mean, you got some real financial decisions to make. So, I think probably 70% of the class, 75% of the class is truly committed. I think you got some, probably about 25% of them that are going to get some late pushes. I think the 3 stars probably, for the most part, are solidified. Some of them will start getting really recruited, those really under the radar guys. But, in my opinion, you also got to look at it as these coaches have given you an offer. I mean, they see what you've got. I mean, Alabama offered you first, and it's kind of like my position with Florida State. They gave me the first big time offer that I had. I hate to say that way, but first, kind of blue bloods.
They were the ones that when you weren't really getting a lot of recognition, you were their Owen Cable, where they saw you and said, "Hey, this guy."
I showed up to a camp with no offer, and I left Tallahassee with an offer from Florida State. They saw me at a camp and gave me an offer, and that meant a lot to me, and I think that does go a long way. It should for kids. You've got a coach that is going out on a limb for you, that believes in you, and he was the first one to do it, because those other offers are going to start rolling in. There's no doubt about it.
And that's what happened with you, and you stuck with Florida State and then eventually transferred to Alabama. First game of the season, Florida State and Alabama, and we're going to Tallahassee. I don't even know where we're going yet. You got to tell me where we're going to do the tailgate show.
We got to figure that out. You got to figure that out. The Coker Bowl, as you've named it.
The Coker Bowl. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped up about the Coker Bowl down there in Tallahassee. It's going to be
careful in there, man. There's probably going to be some disgruntled fans in there.
They can't get mad at you. You won a championship. Both schools, you should wear your rings.
That's right.
Can you imagine that? Like, you just showed up with your. Nobody else is going to be able to roll in with Florida. I guess the defensive coordinator, Jeremy Pruitt, he's the one that can do it, right?
Yeah, he can do it.
You and him.
That is kind of crazy. Man, old Jeremy.
You can bring him some asparagus.
Look, Cedarian Morgan announcing today. I think he's Alabama, man. I just can't imagine.
Oh, he is Alabama. Yeah, he's in. Hey, let me throw this up here real quick.
Wait, what do you mean he's in?
There it is. Roback look good out on the golf course, or if you go to Tallahassee to see Alabama and Florida State in the Coker Bowl. Crimson 20 is our promo code, and that'll get you 20% off at Roback, whether it's that incredible hoodie there or some of their awesome polos. Game day or any day, Roback is very comfortable, great looking clothes. Take it to the golf course at Pearl River over in Philadelphia, the Augusta you can play, but use that code 20% off at roback.com. And look, it is golf time too. It's almost time for us to head back to Pearl River and play the Azaleas or the Oaks or both of their 18 hole courses on that beautiful course. You know what's surprising? I remember before I saw it, everybody was like, "Man, there's this golf course at Pearl River. It's amazing." And then you go there, you're in the clubhouse. We stay at the clubhouse, and it really is awesome. Like it feels like you are at Sawgrass or Pebble Beach or Augusta. Like it just has that vibe to it.
Yeah, it's got that nice old school vibe, kind of secluded. Yeah. You never realize it's back there. I mean, you never realize how nice it is back there, way back off the road. It's sleeping in that or staying in that clubhouse. I mean, you feel like you're on an upscale bachelor trip when you get to go stay at that clubhouse. It's all to yourself. Little living room out in the middle. Love doing shows from there.
Man, we had some great times. Hung out with our guys, Steve, Azar there. Bo Bounds has his show on there. One of our buddies, the late Ryan Griffin, us in there goofing off with Ryan and having a good time, man. I've had so many fond memories there, but you can have yours as well, guys. And if you rent one of the rooms in the clubhouse, which you can do it, right? It comes with a golf cart. So you can just wheel over to the casino, hit Philip M. Steakhouse, which is what we do, down the path, and then table games and slots, the sports book, all the great fun that is at Pearl River Resort.
Oh, I'm doing a Friday, Saturday trip for sure in that clubhouse. Play golf Friday afternoon, go to the game Saturday, come back, stay there Saturday, and then head home Sunday.
That's a great idea. I'm with you. Count me in.
Yeah, that's
right. We'll do it coming up. Hey, and by the way, guys, if you are interested in coming and seeing our tailgate show, we have our Floribama schedule. And I know some of you guys were saying you were going to plan your vacations around, our schedule. It's because you want to come and hang out with us. We are going to be, and I'll put this on my Twitter, and we'll keep mentioning it. The Georgia-Bama game, September 26th is our live radio show. The 26th of September, Old River Grill at the Floribama. That's at 1:00 on that Friday. Bama, South Carolina. That is October 26th, and that's 1:00 at Coastal. We did that last year. Remember how cool that was at Coastal Restaurant in Orange Beach? We were on the stage with the beautiful beach backdrop and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then the Iron Bowl Friday, we'll be recording at the Big Floribama on November 28th at 1:00. So that the dates are out, and somewhere in Tallahassee that we don't know yet. Does that get you excited about football season?
Yeah, man. Hey. What, 8 weeks away? Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to believe. Can't wait. I mean, again, I know you're a baseball guy, but we're in the dead heat of just regular season baseball and not a whole lot of weekend activities. I don't know if I was from Chicago or if the Braves were worth a damn. I guess I'd be excited, but football season can't get here quick enough.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys want to listen to the show, you can't watch it on YouTube. Remember, all of our programs on Cover Crimson are on the Cover Crimson Podcast Network, and you can download those Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts. You can catch the audio of our show there. Roll Tide, Jay. Great to see you today, man. Let's do it again later this week. Bama with a ton of recruiting momentum. I don't think that's going to change. Some big targets coming up today and tomorrow. And this class is starting to really fill out. So we'll see when Bama nails these next two guys, if they can get into the top 5, maybe close to the top 3 as far as the recruiting rankings go. So that'll be something we'll be keeping an eye on. But Roll Tide, everybody. We will talk to you again coming up real soon.
Roll Tide.
To Pearl River Resort.